Hey everyone, welcome to Kicking with Kipes. I'm Kipes, and today is January the 5th, 2025. We got only a couple games on the schedule tonight, but a lot of those couple games went into overtime, so let's waste no time and let's jump right into it. Our day starts off in Chicago, where the Blackhawks are facing off against the New York Rangers, and the New York Rangers, they come from behind in a big way and win 6-2 over the Blackhawks on Sunday afternoon. Philip Hedl, he got 2 goals for the New York Rangers tonight, and the Rangers, they scored 5 consecutive times to come from behind and pull off this victory in Riley Smith, Will Borgen, Johnny Brodzinski, and Vincent Trocheck all had goals in this game, as well as Philip Hedl adding 2 goals to that whole total. Very impressive team win from the Rangers, and that it's been a long time since we've said that at all on this channel. The Rangers, they were behind in this game, but they scored 5 consecutive times to come back in this game and just completely take the air out of the United Center and the Blackhawks team, because the Blackhawks had absolutely zero response to the Rangers' onslaught of goals. The Rangers, they improved to 18-20-1, still a pathetic excuse of a record for the Rangers according to their standards, but they also had lost 5 of 6 and were coming off of a very embarrassing loss yesterday, 7-4. So they lost 7-4 last night. They win 6-2 today. It is the tale of two cities in New York. Adam Fox, Ryan Lindgren, and Brett Berard each had 2 assists in this game. And so like I just said, it was a full team win. A lot of forwards did produce goals and assists. A couple defensemen, they each got 2 assists. So it was a very well-rounded game for the Rangers, and it feels weird to say positive things about this team, but it's about time. Louis Domingue, you haven't heard that name for a long time in the NHL. He made his first start of the season, making 25 saves for the Rangers. It was actually his first NHL game since November the 9th, 2023. Over a full calendar year before he's played in an NHL game. It must feel like a long time coming, just like it was with Matt Murray a couple weeks ago. But for being gone that long, it just must feel so amazing for Louis Domingue to actually come back and play in the NHL once again. Tyler Bertuzzi and Wyatt Kaiser, they both scored for the Blackhawks. Connor Bedard, he picked up an assist in this game, extending his point streak to 7 games, and that is the longest point streak of his NHL career so far. So just under a season and a half of Bedard's career, this is the longest point streak, and which is kind of crazy to say because of how dominant he was last year before he got injured. And yeah, but congratulations to him. It's a very good thing to do. The Chicago Blackhawks, they have also lost 6 of their past 7 games. Very bad, very, very bad. And they dropped to 13-25-2, just a pathetic excuse of a record. And I said that as the Rangers, but for the standards of both these teams, they should both be a little bit better. The Rangers a lot better. The Blackhawks a little bit better, because they were hoping to make these steps this season. They had Bedard, they have Vlasic, all these young players, and the veterans that were coming in, like TJ Brody and Tyler Bertuzzi. They were hoping that they could at least make a step this year, and it looks like it's just the same old thing from the same old Blackhawks. Arvid Soderblom was in net for the Blackhawks today. He made 28 saves in the losing effort. So the Blackhawks, they lose at home in embarrassing fashion once again, and the Rangers, they win 6-2 in Chicago. Next, we got the Boston Bruins at home versus the New York Islanders, and the New York Islanders, they win in overtime 5-4. Bo Horvat was the hero for the Islanders in overtime, as he got his second goal of the game in overtime, around 3 minutes or so of overtime, and the Islanders held on for that win. The Bruins, they did come back in this game. They were down most of the game, but they made it interesting. They got the point they desperately needed after losing to the Leafs on Saturday night. It was a nice play in overtime. Ilya Sorokin, goaltender for the New York Islanders, he made a beautiful right pad save. It bounced out. Horvat on the breakaway put it past Korpisalo, just like the doctor ordered. It was a nice play that you like to see in overtime. One-on-one with the goalie. It's not a shootout, so it's not stupid. It was just a really nice play, and Bo Horvat became the hero in this game. This actually wasn't the first nice play that Sorokin made in overtime. He actually denied Pasternak about 30 seconds into overtime on a backhand attempt. So that just set the precedent for overtime. You thought the Bruins were just going to come out after coming back in the game and just ending the game nice and quick, but Sorokin had other plans. Anders Lee, he had a very good game in this one. He scored 2 times. Ryan Pollock had a goal and 2 assists. So there was 3 main men in this game Horvat, Lee, and Pollock, they all had very good games. And Sorokin, I should say. 4 players for the Islanders really stood out tonight. The Islanders, they improved their measly record to 15, 18, and 7. You would also think that the Islanders had way more expectations for their season up to this point. They ended a 3-game losing streak with this win. For the Boston Bruins, David Pastrnak, he almost completed the hat trick in overtime, but he had to settle for 2 goals. Whoop-de-doo. He scored twice, really helping my fantasy team today. He scores twice. Justin Brazeau and Cole Koepke score for the Bruins as well. They drop to 20, 17, and 5. Another good night for the Leafs as the Leafs win in overtime, picking up 2 points. We'll cover that shortly. But the Bruins also lose, only getting 1 point. So that gap in the standings just slightly improves in the Leafs' favor. The Bruins, though, they are on a bit of a tough little skid right now. They have lost 4 straight. They're 5 of 6. 0-3-1 in those games, and just not looking like the Bruins of old. And obviously they've lost a lot of veterans, but at the same time you would expect them to still play Bruins hockey. And after they fired Jim Montgomery, Sacco came in and they started to look like Bruins again, but they are sliding once again, wondering what they could do to change things again. Jonas Korpisalo, he was in net for the Bruins. He made 32 saves, so he was pretty busy in this game, but he just couldn't help his team squeak out the win. So the Islanders end their losing streak, continuing the Bruins losing streak, and they win 5-4 in overtime at TD Garden. Our second overtime game of the evening was the Carolina Hurricanes defeating the Pittsburgh Penguins 4-3 in overtime. Sebastian Aho was the winner of this game. He scored exactly a minute and a half into overtime. Aho, he also had 2 assists in this game, so he was extremely productive for the Carolina Hurricanes. His goal in overtime, though, was a Dmitry Orlov shot that was just bouncing everywhere, and he chipped in the rebound. Not a pretty play, but a very effective play nonetheless. Seth Jarvis, he had 2 goals and an assist, also helping my fantasy team tonight. So my fantasy team was really happy today with 2 players getting 2 goals. Anyways, side note, Dustin Tokarski, he made 16 saves. He wasn't too busy today, but he made 16 saves for the Hurricanes, and they improve to 24, 14, and 2, a very respectful record for Rob Brendamore and his squad. This was a very much needed win for the Carolina Hurricanes as they had lost 4-0 to the Minnesota Wild last night. So a very good bounce back win for the Hurricanes on the back of a back-to-back. And the Penguins, they dropped to 17, 17, and 7. There's a couple reasons why that record is extremely easy to remember. 1, because of how mediocre it is, and 2, because it's very fun to say lots of 7s, triple 7s, my favorite number. Anyways, they are now 0-1-2 on a 3-game skid, so they better get it picked up or else their season's just going to go down the crapper. Former Detroit Red Wing Alex Nedeljkovic, he made 26 saves in the losing effort tonight. It's too bad for the Penguins that they lost this game because they did have the lead and squandered it big time because they had a 2-0 lead in the first period, but the Hurricanes came into the second period and scored 3 straight, and yeah, that momentum that the Penguins carried into the second period just immediately gone. So not too much else to report on this game. The Carolina Hurricanes, they win 4-3 in Pittsburgh in overtime thanks to Sebastian Aho. Our third game that went into overtime today was the Maple Leafs against the Philadelphia Flyers in Toronto, where the Toronto Maple Leafs, they win 3-2 thanks to Morgan Rielly. Morgan Rielly, he scored 5 seconds short of halfway through the overtime period. Rielly, he took a pass from Austin Matthews and beat Fedotov just glove side. It was a nice, quick wrist shot that just was too fast for the reaction timing of Fedotov. For the Leafs, Matthew Knies, very nice. He scored as well as Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Don't know what I did just there. That was a bit weird. But Knies, his goal made it 1-1 in the first period, scoring his 4th goal in his past 2 games. And since my computer decided to glitch out yesterday, we didn't get to cover the Leafs win last night. He got a hat trick and 5 points in the win last night. So he scores again today, getting 4 goals in his past 2 games. He desperately needed these goals because he even said himself that his game wasn't now, that his game isn't at the spot that he would want it to be. And it all started after his injury and he was out for a couple games. So this is just exactly what the doctor ordered, maybe almost literally, for Matthew Knies. Dennis Hildeby, the Hildebeest, He was in net for the Toronto Maple Leafs today. He made 30 saves. He looked very solid in net. He let a very early goal in today on Tyson Foerster, but ever since then, he looked pretty solid in net. The Leafs, their record improves to 26-13-2, and they also get help from the Bruins, who lost in overtime, so they only pick up a point. And the Tampa Bay Lightning, they lost to Anaheim today in regulation. We'll talk about that in the next clip. But those are two losses against divisional rivals again. So the Leafs are winning when their divisional rivals are losing, and that's just absolutely huge in the standings for the Maple Leafs. Right now, if the playoffs started, it would be the Maple Leafs against the Ottawa Senators, the first spot in the Atlantic versus the second wildcard spot. And how electric would that be if the Leafs could pull that off and play somebody different in the playoffs? Finally. Not too much to report on the Philadelphia Flyers. They came into this game extremely tough. I don't know why they came in so pissed off, so angry about something, but at the same time, they were throwing hits everywhere. The Leafs responded pretty well with those hits, not letting much get away after. They were pushing after the whistle. There was scrums everywhere. Good old-fashioned hockey. There was a fight. I don't know if there was a second fight, but we'll talk about that fight in just a second. But Tyson Foerster, like I just mentioned, and Scott Laughton both scored for the Flyers. Ivan Fedotov between the pipes for the Flyers. He made 22 saves in the losing effort. They dropped to 17, 18, and 5. Their record also with a couple other teams that we're talking about tonight. Also very very mediocre. And maybe I'm noticing this more so because I'm starting to cover these games night in and night out. But at the same time, there are so many mediocre or underperforming teams this season. Tell me if that's just more so this season more than other years, but I don't know what's going on. I'm talking about a lot of teams that are at 500, just below 500, or very far under 500, or just above 500. It just seems like there's a lot of mediocrity this year, which is helping the league and the standings become a little bit more interesting heading into the dark days of winter. So I've noticed the East is extremely close. Only 3-4 points difference between 4 or 5 different spots in the standings. So one win here and one loss there is very important for these teams to get going and get into the playoffs. So it's going to be very interesting to keep following throughout the remaining course of the season. The one fight that happened in this game was Jake McCabe and Garnet Hathaway. They got in a very heated fight. They both were throwing their fist very heavily. And Garnet Hathaway, I would say, won the fight. Jake McCabe, all of a sudden, he wasn't getting off the ice very quick. And I started to say, something's not right. And then all of a sudden, you see him try to get up with both hands, and then his one hand slips a little bit, and it looks like he's just in La La Land. He looks like he's seeing stars, and I don't doubt that he was, because all of a sudden, he kind of sat up, and it reminded me of John Tavares in the bubble when he took the knee of Corey Perry to the head, and he kind of was like all loopy, falling back everywhere and looking not good at all. It wasn't to the extent of John Tavares, but Morgan Rielly did have to skate pretty quickly over and keep him up and as in an upright position sitting down. And yeah, it was very scary. It's extremely likely that he has a concussion because of the way he looked, and I wouldn't be surprised if he missed a couple games due to that. So Jake McCabe, we all hope that you're okay. It was a pretty scary scene. It gave me flashbacks of things I don't want to remember about the COVID bubble. So hope you're doing okay, man. Hope to see you back soon. On that note, the Leafs, they win 3-2 in overtime thanks to Morgan Rielly over the Philadelphia Flyers Sunday night. Our last game of the evening is the Tampa Bay Lightning in Anaheim, where the Anaheim Ducks beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-1. Frank Vatrano was the story of the night and day for the Anaheim Ducks. He signed a new 3-year, $18 million contract in a video that he posted onto social media. Very nice, touching video with his child. So congratulations to him on extending his tenure as a Duck for 3 more years. And he also got 2 goals and an assist in this game. Other stand-up performances from the Anaheim Ducks: Troy Terry had a goal and an assist. Ryan Strome also had 2 assists. John Gibson was the goaltender for the Anaheim Ducks today. He made 36 saves in the winning effort as well as acquiring his 200th NHL career win. Congratulations to him. That is a massive milestone for Gibson. The only goal scorer for the Tampa Bay Lightning was Jake Gensel. Jonas Johansson between the pipes made 22 saves in the losing effort today. The Lightning, they dropped to 20, 15, and 2. And like I just mentioned, they help out the Leafs, giving them a bit of more of a buffer in the standings. They have now lost 4 straight in regulation for the first time this season, so they are on a skid, as well as the Bruins. So both those teams really have to get their games back in order. Tampa Bay came out of the gate extremely slow in this game. They did not get their first shot on Jordan Gibson until 10 minutes and 36 seconds into the game. Halfway through the first period, they did not get a shot, so that probably was the momentum swinger in the beginning of the game for the Ducks to get into the game at home, get the fans behind them. As soon as the second period started, Tampa Bay decided to turn it on, and it still wasn't good enough as Anaheim scored a couple goals. But the Tampa Bay Lightning outshot the Ducks 32-14 in the second and third period combined. So they absolutely laid a ton of shots on John Gibson, and he just said no thank you for the entire night. 36 saves for John Gibson, like we already talked about, is a huge amount of shots to take from an extremely good Tampa Bay team. The Ducks could have easily crumbled in this game, and they didn't. They held strong and performed extremely well. So the Ducks, they win 4-1 over the Tampa Bay Lightning on Sunday evening. All right, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching this one. Only 5 games on the schedule covered for you today. We won't have a video again tomorrow. Sorry for the back and forth. Yesterday was just a crapshoot. But tomorrow is Mix It Up Monday, so check out my other socials to see a couple videos that I'll be posting, just switching it up on Mondays like I usually do. Then we will see you on Tuesday for 10 games on the schedule. See you then. Soon there won't be a Christmas tree in the background. There's going to be a new office for Kipes, so stay tuned to see a video of a office tour. So thank you so much again for watching this video. It means the absolute world to me. Hit like, hit subscribe if you like this one, and we will see you Tuesday night for some more recaps. Have a great night.